Hello and welcome to Thai Food. We have a very special episode today, being that it's St. Patrick's Day, and I had a request from a special viewer and friend of mine, Tetra Cooley, whose husband and her bought me this awesome apron. We're going to make for you what we know up in New York at Burn Dairy as green milk, or special St. Patrick's Day milk. And the way I formulated this, I made it in the form of a syrup. Now, you might get upset with me, Tetra, but there's twofold on this, okay? One, easy storage. Just add a little vodka to it, and it's shelf stable, because the alcohol will neutralize the sugars, and you can store it in the cabinet. Or, don't add any vodka to it. You'd only have to add like maybe a tablespoon at most, Tetra, so you really wouldn't notice it in there. And if you're going to make alcoholic drinks, it doesn't matter. Or don't add any alcohol to it, because there is some alcohol in the extracts, and if you wait until the syrup is totally cooled down to add your extract in, the alcohol won't evaporate from it. Or you can just keep it in the fridge like I'm going to do. But as you see, I already had to make a test batch because I wanted to make sure this recipe was just right before I made the video on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with half a cup of ordinary filtered tap water. And to this we want to add 1 full cup of sugar. I'm going to set my milk off to the side here. So it's half a cup of water, 1 cup of sugar. So there's 1/2 cup of sugar. There's 1 full cup of sugar. And this is known as a simple syrup. And it's really simple to make. I've done this and then added like orange extract for making an orange flavored syrup for pancakes, because my kids were infatuated with the flavor orange at one point. Now, you want to somewhat stir the sugar up to start getting it to dissolve into the water. But at this point, we're going to go to the microwave for a minute. And we want to get this heated up so it can start dissolving in the microwave here. And just going to let that heat up. Once it's done heating up, I'm going to take and I'm going to stir it with my whisk briefly, go back into the microwave. You may have to do this process several times. If I remember correctly, it took me almost 3 to almost 3.5 minutes before I got everything fully dissolved and I was happy with it. Now, most of the time I would just do this on the stove, but because the stove's way back there and you're up here, it doesn't make for good viewing when I do this to you. So, that's why I'm utilizing my microwave. You can do it however you want. Now with the microwave, I won't get it heated up to the point where the white foam totally disappears. But it's not going to hurt nothing. It's going to look a little cloudy, but once we add in the food coloring, which, yes, it's very green, but you'll see when we mix it with the milk, it's not as green as you might think. So there's 1 minute. Bring this out, and this is what it's going to look like. And we want to stir this up because there's still sugar on the bottom. Now you ain't got to worry about the water exploding like you've seen on Mythbusters. That was just ordinary tap water with nothing in it. And then when you put the utensil in it, it explodes at you violently. We've already added sugar into this. We've destabilized the water. So I don't have to worry about it exploding on me. And at this point, I'm going to go back in for another 30 seconds. Now, I want to do this in spurts like this, because if you don't do it in spurts, then you'll have a boil over. And that just makes for a sticky mess, just like in the bedroom. So, we don't need that here. It's just not pleasing, that's for sure. Especially if you're not the one cleaning it up, and you got to hear about it. Although there is a steam method I've heard with, putting water in there, letting it boil. It creates a steam effect, makes the microwave easier to clean. Wouldn't know, haven't tried it. Okay. You can see it's still cloudy, and there's still sugar on the bottom. So, I'm going to whisk it some more, and You can probably see the steam coming off the water. So you know it's heated up at this point. I'm going to go back in another 30 seconds. I want to get it to the point where the cloudiness starts to dissipate and rise to the surface. And as it does that, you'll see it gets nice and clear underneath. But you got to heat it up to a certain point for the cloudiness to totally dissipate out of it. And we're not going to heat it up that long. I don't see the need to do it. So at this point, we're approaching our 2-minute mark for microwaving the water. Like I said, start with a minute, then 30-second bursts. That's our second 30-second burst here. And you can see there's almost a little opaqueness at the bottom. I'm going to stir it up some more here. At this point, pretty much all the sugar's dissolved, but we're going to go back in. Got to get this hot some more, another 30 seconds. And this will probably be the last one we'll see here. I didn't exactly think about it as I was doing it for the test run. I just did it. It's funny how you do that. Sometimes you make a recipe, you just dump, pour, don't exactly measure. You don't always remember what you did. Good rule of thumb is write it down as you go along. Now I think of that, right? Oh well. But I did mention there's 2 parts of this recipe, by the way. One is the green milk, which is really good. And especially if you mix it with liquor, make something called a Lucky Leprechaun. I got drunk on those one time. See how it's just starting to separate? The cloudiness is starting to rise up. That's what we were looking for right there. At this point, I'm going to pull that. Shut the microwave. And that's looking good right there. Now I'm going to let this sit and let that rise up, because I got a milky solution up here on top. And I didn't wait long enough with the other one to see if it would dissipate a little bit. But at this point, it looks like it is dissipating, but I think it's just rising up to the surface anyways. So I'm going to, for the sake of TV, I'm going to be impatient again. Mix this up. Now, at this point, I would highly suggest only adding the food coloring and letting the syrup totally cool down before you add your extracts, because you could lose some flavor out of the extracts if you don't. But I'm going to go ahead and add the food coloring here. 1/4 teaspoon of a green food coloring. One-1/4 teaspoon will suffice. I want to rinse that off a little bit. And I'm going to rinse this off some more with the extracts here. And you can see this turns a very dark green, just like over there. And again, the reason I do this is, one, you're making a syrup, so you want the green color to follow through when you add it to the milk. And 2, I'm sure everyone's heard of the Shamrock Shakes at McDonald's. That's right. You can use this syrup and make your own Shamrock Shakes at home. All you need is some good quality vanilla ice cream and a little bit of milk and some of my homemade syrup here. And you can save yourself a lot of money making your own Shamrock Shakes. Alright, now the extracts. I've got a pure mint extract in this bottle, and I've got a peppermint extract in this bottle. Now we're going to use a little more mint than peppermint, but it's going to give an overall minty flavor. So 1 teaspoon of peppermint extract is going to go into this. 1 good rounded teaspoon. And it's kind of doing like a boil off effect because of the alcohol in the extract, but I did say it would happen if it was hot. That's the reason I'm going to go into the fridge with this, because the alcohol is boiling off of it like that. Mix that in. And it seems that I let this sit enough that the cloudiness to it disappeared. Or maybe the alcohol had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm going to do 2/4 teaspoons of the mint. The pure mint here. There's one. There's two. And I did that to try to rinse the green out of this, but it didn't totally work. I don't know if you can see that. And then we're going to do another teaspoon of mint. Because the mint is not as strong as the peppermint. And I'm not huge on the peppermint flavor. I'm more of a regular mint, spearmint, wintergreen type person. I'm not big on peppermint myself. But you want a little bit of that peppermint in there because you want that, you know, punch in the mouth type mint to hit you, as well as the nice mellow flavor of the regular mint. And there we have it. And that's all there is to it. Put it in a jar, you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this to my jar like it is now. Ooh, without losing that off the countertop. You can see it's got a nice, good green color to it. And you can see I ain't got enough room for all of it, but that's okay. Go ahead and cap that off. Try to keep as much from evaporating as possible. So, now, the coup de grace. We're going to make ourselves some green milk. Want 1 cup, 8 ounces of milk of your choice. I happen to be using whole milk for this, but whatever you choose is just fine. So we got 8 ounces into the glass. And I did this so it's a lot easier to keep the mixture consistent. 1 tablespoon of our minty syrup. And why not? I'm going to use the whisk. And there we have it. Green milk. Oh yeah. Now, if it's not minty enough or green enough, why not add another teaspoon, you know? With this syrup you can add as much or as little as you want. Just like when you make your homemade strawberry milk and whatnot with the syrups. It's all in how minty you want it. Why not? I'll just rinse that spoon off in there too. Or attempt to. Didn't quite work out, but see, now that's a lot closer to what I'm used to seeing at Burn Dairy. So you could do like 1.5 tablespoons and then probably be just perfect with 8 ounces of milk. Like I said, I just formulated this recipe this afternoon on request from Tetra. And thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. Click on the little bell icon. It'll notify you when I upload a video. And check out my Facebook group, Thai Food. Check out my Twitter on Thai Food. And check out my Instagram, Thai Food on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.